Yeah,
are you suffering most?
In communication and in technical basics.
Mm.
This is really
okay. I think we later we can go a little bit deeper. Let's say in the how. Let's say in really how to start. Also as a company owner or as a leader. Conrad, you want to just give a brief describe who you are, what you do, and for the audience to know from which field you're coming from.
Yeah, I think most of you know me, so hello from me, and we offer a live chat service for hotels only. So we are operating on a very digital basis before Corona, while Corona is now, and after Corona. And it was no problem for us to hold distance because we always have the distance. Yes, so we get to know Corona only by having less chats and having a bit of panic in the chats or have a lot of uncertainty. That was what we get to know from Corona.
Okay, thank you, Conrad. And Sandro?
Yeah, I'm Sandro Christofori. I work for SHR as Director of Business Development for DACH and East Europe. And we are a hospitality tech partner, a pure hospitality tech company. So referring to what you said in the beginning, we can actually not say that everything was only going in positive directions. It also affected us a lot as we only focus on hospitality. Yeah, and the negative things I don't want to talk about. I think that got covered in the last weeks a lot, and we all know. But if I want to see the positive things in this crisis, then it's definitely that it will give another push to the importance of digitalization. And what
so you would see it as a booster for.
It is very important. It was important before. I don't want to know how many hoteliers couldn't even set up an auto reply in their Outlook now when they were in the lockdown. To starting there. I think what Markus says is also absolutely normal, that now you first had to look for your operational procedures, communication with the team, internal stuff, but now for the long term, I think it will give another push and importance to digitalizing in general. And there's time. There's no rush that it had to be done right now. Yeah, take time to really see, okay, what makes sense. I think every hotel chain, group, whatever, has a special situation and needs to see what makes sense for them.
Thank you, Sandro. And Uli, tell us.
Yeah, Ullrich Kastner. I'm the CEO of Myhotelshop. We are running online marketing campaigns for hotels. So we connect hotels with their websites to meta search, to Google AdWords, and so on. So basically, we are a software company plus an agency that helps hotel to digitalize their let's say their online marketing activities and their distribution. And on my second life, I'm also organizing events which are around technology. So we have it's called Hotel Technology Forum, where we have around 150 tech companies in our network, and we run events usually all over Europe. And the impact for Corona, well, on the event part, no need to elaborate on that. We're all meeting online, so that's currently pretty much at zero. And more interestingly, on the distribution side with Myhotelshop, from one day to the other in March, our revenues decreased by 97%, and that was simply because demand crashed by 97%. So there was simply no, and even on Google, even on platforms like Trivago, demand went down to zero, literally. So and when we talk about tech and digitalization, I mean, these are also tech companies, right? And Booking, Expedia, Trivago, their stock prices did not really go through the roof, just the other way from the beginning of Corona. So I mean, I think it's not that easy to generalize on tech. That tech, there's certain tech that benefits, Zoom, Amazon, of course, and but there are certain areas that don't benefit. So but I think your message is more about, okay, how can digitalization help in times of crisis? And there I absolutely agree. There are for sure many levers where digitalization can help, and if hotels had prepared better in good times around digitalization, I think they would do much better in crisis times like Corona. It's something I've been telling hotels.
That would have been my following question, and actually also asking you, for example, when you say it went down, your revenue, was that because also campaigns and strategy was very, let's say, short-term targeted, or maybe not fast enough to be adapted to? If you are
demand, I mean, travel demand went down because there was a lockdown, right? So people weren't allowed to travel. So that wasn't the fault of anyone. I mean, that's just the basis, right? So where I see where digitalization comes in is now that the lockdown is over and now that demand is picking up again, how quick are hotels in turning around and reacting again to the market, which has two factors that influence them. Factor number one is liquidity. I mean, obviously, if you don't have money, you cannot invest. If you can't invest, you cannot do what you have to do. So that is a financial problem. Again, has nothing to do with digitalization. But the second part is, yes, how fast can you scale up and down? And I think that's the key question for today, is if a hotel has a good digital landscape operationally and in the distribution. I always distinguish between these two areas. Distribution is basically what brings you business, and operationally is once you have the business in-house, how do you deal with it from basically the day of arrival to the day of departure. And on all areas you can digitalize, which means you can digitalize processes, optimize processes. And I think personally that hotels that have done a good job of digitalization can react faster to problems like we have right now, because they can scale down and up faster. If you are not digitalized, scaling up and down comes down to manual effort, and that means you're relying on people, and that's a big problem, right? Because people might be furloughed or on certain short labor and these kind of things. So digitalized properties are faster in reacting to crisis. They are faster to scale down when the crisis hits you, and they're faster to scale up once demand goes up. And that's what I see with many of my properties. And we have a lot of first mover companies and hotels, and we can see that them are coming out of these crises much better, much better than other companies.
Are if you're looking at your clients, are they all, let's say, similar developed in terms of the digital capacity? Let's say you have XX clients, or do you see, let's say, variations, and where would you pinpoint them? More in the corporate hotels and or more privately owned?
Well, they're all, we don't work with hotel chains, so we only work with individual properties and small hotel chains. So most of the times they're privately owned. They're everywhere, so a lot in the German-speaking market, but also everywhere across Europe, and leisure and corporate pretty much 50-50. So that's pretty even. I would say we have different service levels. So we have around 120 hotels with a very high service level, and those are hotels that like Marcos Hotels, for example, where we are pretty far, and at least on the areas we are covering, I think we are as good as it's possibly or possible. Then
can you I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you quickly explain, let's say, when you say you do online campaigns, for example, for a hotel like Marcos, how looks a process like?
Process is, I mean, first of all, to keep it simple, if you want to make business on your website, you have two ways to influence your results positively. Number one is you need people on your website, so you need traffic. or if you don't have traffic, it's like a supermarket. If you have nobody coming into the supermarket, then obviously then you can't sell. And then so for that you need to do marketing. And then once people are on your website, they need to book. So if they can't book because they cannot find a booking button, then it's a problem. So you need to convert people. So it's like in a supermarket, they need to buy as much as possible and as fast as possible. And these two things is what we work on. It's actually quite simple stuff. It's not rocket science, but when you look at the hotel industry, we still see that many hotels have terrible infrastructures.
Yes, and if you look at sometimes websites, you know, you don't see a pixel there. You know that here nobody is on the topic, or am I wrong?
Exactly. Yeah, that's. I mean, it's even worse. I mean, when you talk about websites, there might be even 50% of the hotel industry in Germany might have websites older than 5 years. Yeah? So the industry overall is very badly developed. I mean, I even think that 30% of hotels don't even still work in a property management system, still work with a book, and don't really have software in place, not having booking engines in place. I mean, but then there is also, I mean, our clients are potentially the first movers, like I said, the top 5, top 10% that are very far developed, but still, if you compare them to what Booking.com is doing or what Expedia is doing, there's still a huge gap in terms of knowledge and technology. So, and we need to close that gap. That's quite important. And that's something I've been behind for the last, let's say, 15 years. And now it seems that in times of crisis, it always seems that hotels are like, all right, yeah, now I get it. Now I need to do it. But now it's too late. It's like you learned in the Bible, right? You need to, in good times, you need to work for the bad times. And
yeah.
Yeah.
But now, Uli, just because I see also we have in the audience also here from Spain listeners, just to explain them, that Sandro is based here in Barcelona, and Uli has also offices in Barcelona. So maybe before we get into the deeper detail of what really means digitalization, and also this mindset that you talk, you know, that you really say in which way we can make company owners or also leaders make understanding that is really needed now, this shift in mind. I think because this is what you were saying, let's say that everyone has to realize also, for example, what does it mean for our processes in terms of a bad process digitalized is still a bad process, you know, in which way we have to also look into effectiveness of steps and operating it itself. Let's say that, and on which touch points of the customer journey should we digitalize and which not. And then also Conrad will share with us also for the sales component in terms of being an active sales operator on the website itself. So Spain, Germany, Europe, you say that, what are your experiences in terms of differences? Or Sandro, also you
Yeah, so I would like to add to what Uli said. Was one thing is having the digital systems in place, yeah, and the other one is, like, if you look at other industries like e-commerce or whatever, we mentioned companies like Amazon and so on, like having the systems, having a good web page, all this, okay, that's the basics, but you can do even much more. It goes into the direction, what are you in the end doing with your data? How do you integrate all these different systems? We all know buying something online and then somebody is reaching out to you and, hey, you forgot something in your basket, or this, or marketing campaigns specific for what you like. Hospitality is far away from that, and this will bring a lot of business. And I think as it will be more tricky now, the situation, this will have more importance. And yeah, from the hit here in Spain, for example, we can clearly see that that in Barcelona, the hotels are opening now again, but as far as I know, around 80% of all hotels from the city at least decided to to not open until the autumn, because they're just not expecting anybody to come. But many of them are also now using this time to see, okay, how they can improve certain areas, to then be back in autumn and hopefully, of course, have also events again and so on once we have a vaccine in next year in 21.
But Sandro, do you get inquiries in terms of that hotel companies asking you for proposals or let's say suggestions? Do you notice some activity in the interest? Let's say
Yeah.
movement.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, what Uli was also mentioning, liquidity, of course, is a problem. But now's the time to look into, to start to use your time, especially when people were now in the lockdown. Now's the time to scan, okay, what kind of solutions, what possibilities do I have, and to see what to bring in place. And I think there's a lot of partners and providers, including us, who offer or who have really great offers when it comes to the conditions and the flexibility, also in regards to payments and so on.
Okay. Uli, you wanted to say something in terms of Spain, situation in Spain?
Well, situation in Spain is very, I mean, very different to Germany, right? Because obviously in Spain, I mean, first of all, the lockdown was harder, it was longer. Hotels have overall not as good of a liquidity base. So many hotels obviously are in a much worse shape, right? And the economy is in a worse shape. Then also the government support is less, right? I mean, I see it myself. I see in Germany, the government support for our company is much better than what we get for our company in Spain. So the costs are almost 50% more coverage in Germany than in Spain. So that helps us much more than what we get from the Spanish government, plus the administrative chaos that is created sometimes. So these kind of things are definitely not making it easy for us in Spain. And with the hotels in Spain, obviously, as long as, I mean, there's a lot of inbound business, right? For a lot of, like, cities like Barcelona, I mean, also Mallorca, all the holiday destinations obviously have a lot of international inbound traffic, which is now stopped. I mean, hopefully the borders are lifted and people can travel again, but as long as that's not the case, and I think it's still not the case, it's going to be a problem for Spain, right? And we can see already when we look at demands in our own portfolio, we can clearly see that currently the only demand and the only business that is coming in is domestic. So only people travel domestically. So I guess Spain will heavily rely on Spanish people traveling in Spain, which can be a good thing, right? Because maybe less Spanish people travel internationally, stay in Spain. It's the same in Germany currently, because a lot of people, I mean, we have huge pickups in the leisure areas in Germany, because people were booking their holidays short term now at the Baltic Sea and so on. So I guess potentially similar stuff happening for Spain, but places like Mallorca and so on that have a lot of German and English travelers will suffer, right? I mean, there's no doubt. And cities like Barcelona that have a lot of international travelers from America, from Asia, they're gonna have a huge downturn. So this summer is not gonna be the same as what they used to.
I think that will be also for in general for big cities, but as we also said, 80% of people in Europe will travel within Europe. So let's see now that they are opening the borders. That is the hope, 1st of July. Andreo, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if you want to say something. I see you with your nice background with the Abgatore in your back.
Well, I just was listening and
yeah,
I'm on the public sector on a public consortium that supports, that helps towns and cities about digitalization. But well, I think we all are in an unknown period where we'll have to see how things just go, and we'll have to see if people starts moving and going going abroad, at least in Europe. So we have to expect how we can just pass this this next month and this summer here in Barcelona. I don't know exactly. You probably, well, you for sure you know more how it's going to be, or how it's going to develop your business or your area business this next month.
No, but right now the travel regulations are as followed, that basically from 1st of July on, everyone can go in and go out, no? Also in Spain.
Yeah, the EU actually wants to, makes a lot of pressure and wants to open borders from the 15th of June, but Spain is pushing back a little bit and saying, please let us wait until 1st of July and open then. And probably it will be that.
Well, what things here, I think the Spanish government said 10 days ago that they were willing to open the frontiers with France and Portugal the 22nd, and then I think it was Portugal and France that said that it was just too early for them. So I think everything is just too liquid to know exactly how they're going to. But that's right. That the European Union it's pushing for the countries to open their borders. Yeah.
Thank you, Andrea. Conrad, so when we were saying, let's say booking more local, then I think you made exactly this experience in the last weeks, no? Because your clients are.
Yes, definitely. Our clients are hotels in Germany, first and foremost, and we see that the former world champion of traveling to foreign countries, so the Germans, stay at home because they have to and because they want to. And Uli was right in saying that at the Baltic Sea, yes, Germans go to the Baltic Sea, and I think the summer of 2020 goes into history as the summer where the Germans stay at home. And so the latter
staycation. Actually, staycation. We had a panel member 2 weeks ago from Dubai, and he said in all Middle East there is like a metaphor going around that is called staycation. Everything is staycation called. And
yes, staycation in that sense that they don't stay at home, but they stay in Germany. And as our customers are leisure hotels, and so we have a push we have never before. Yes, they yes.
No? Hello, sorry I'm late. I was in a meeting here in the business. I'm sorry.
That's fine, Daniel. I introduce you to the rest of the audience. DanielFerrer, hotel owner in Barcelona. He owns a hotel near Barcelona airport. Of course, normally this hotel had an occupancy, let's say, no worries, always, you know, above nearly 100%, but now times have changed, and we have here Ullrich Kastner. He is in online marketing and all what is about to help hotels to sell digitally. He has also an office in Barcelona, and Sandro, he is also with a tech company that supports hotels in digitalization processes, where CRM process, reservation process, reservation systems. And Conrad, he is a provider of a personal chat function that is installed on websites and works as a extension sales tool. That means all the conversations that are lead through the chat have only one focus. The number one is customer experience and customer service, really giving an added value to the chat visitor, and at the same time selling rooms. And this is the connection. Unfortunately, Daniel, I would recommend it you really, because I like it, but the Spanish part, you have a lot of Spanish visitors from on your website. So, and Conrad is doing these services only in, Conrad, correct me, German and English, no? And Swedish and Swedish and
yes,
yeah.
First and foremost in German and English. Yes, of course we can we chat in other languages with Google Translate and so on and some knowledge, but we cannot offer it in Spain right now or in Spanish.
Hope soon.
Yeah. So we were talking about that Uli was saying that is very essential, or all his clients, he has 2,500 plus clients in his portfolio that were mentally prepared and also physically with online marketing and all that. No, correct me if I'm wrong, Uli. Have much better passed this time of crisis as others that start right now from zero. Now I have questions to you, Uli. Number one is, let's say, what are when you start with a client, how much percentage wise, how much is preparing the client's mind in terms of telling them, okay, now we have to start with online marketing. So do you have, because I don't know how many owners or know about click rate and landing page functions and like it's all how it works, and also the digitalization product lines, you know, it's like, what do you want to sell? How it has to be the product, you know, even let's say offline, you know, product lines like room service, delivery service, shuttle service, all these kind of additional components that a hotel has. How much is your work to prepare the mind to say this is needed, and also how it works?
Well, maybe Marcus can answer that question, being a client. That's a
Marcus, I don't know where he is. Marcus.
But if he's,
he
yeah. Yeah. But is it? I mean, it's not an easy answer to that, because obviously when you look at how a hotel works, it is a quite complex, obviously, setup. We all know that, right? There are different products, there are different departments, and in the end of the day, to explain it simply, when we start with a hotel, the pain usually comes from the fact that a hotel gets the majority of the business through Booking.com and Expedia. Right, their online business, which is very expensive. So they have to pay high commissions. And one of the reasons that's the case is because 12 years ago in the financial crisis in 2008, many hotels were very empty. And what happened was that Booking.com actually entered the market with a variable model of a commission, let's say at that time 8%. And they went to hotels and they told them, look, your hotels are empty, we fill it up for a variable cost of 8%, and you have to pay it after the customer left. Which is
right now, at what percentage are we right now?
Well, right now it depends on the place, but we are between 12 and 30, right? It really depends on where you are. So it definitely increased heavily. Why? Because Booking.com obviously increased their market share, right? And they increased their market share up to a monopoly status almost. So many hotels actually made a mistake in the financial crisis because they were running out of money. They were running out of guests, and Booking.com was filling it because Booking.com was doing a better job than, for example, tour operators and so on, who were at that time just not fast enough and technically not digitalized enough. And Booking at the time was, and still is. So, and now we're in a similar situation. But years ago, I mean, the last 4 years, hotels were doing a much better job, right? I mean, the economy went up and hotels were like, I have such a high share of Booking.com and my distribution costs are huge. I want to change it. So basically the way to change it, and I was working for hotel chains myself before, so I was working for Hilton and Accor. And there we had a strategy very, very early in place where we said, look, we need to get more business away from Booking into our own website, because we might not have one guest more, but if we save 2, 3, 4% commission, then it's going to be huge on our profitability. And that's exactly how we approach hotels. We tell them, look, we shift bookings away from Booking to your own website for a lower cost. So, and on average, by the way, this is between 3 and 4% cost savings that we shift over to hotel websites when we work with our clients. So you can have a look at your revenue, right? So if you make €1 million revenue, this means between 30 and 40,000 euro cash extra that you have available, plus you're reducing your dependency on booking because the share of booking in your property is going down. And again, the average hotel in Europe maybe has around 5 to 10% of the business coming through the website. With our hotels, specifically again with our, let's say, top 100, we are more talking some share of 20 to 50% of the total business through the website. So that's always the ultimate goal. So now if you wanna start, coming to your question, if you wanna start and if you wanna get there, it's not something you can turn around in a week, right? I mean, there's a lot of preparation, and the preparation then usually comes with several steps, right? So, and this is where, when you look at hotels, this is where the problem starts. It's like, as a hotel, you look at the landscape and you see that there are multiple things that you need that need to work together. I always bring the example that we had a hotel in Switzerland and they wanted a new website. And we told them, okay, we'll build a new website. But then we told them, well, look, it doesn't make sense only to change your website. You also need a proper booking engine, right? So you need a nice booking engine on top of your website with your website. And then they were, okay. Then we told them, okay, let's get a booking engine. But then we noticed that the old booking engine was connected to a revenue management system. And that revenue management system was shitty too. Then we said, okay, then we need to change the revenue management system. And then we noticed we need to change not only the revenue management system, because this was connected to the PMS. And that was shitty too. So we told them, okay, now we need to change the PMS. And they were looking at me and they said, Uli, we just wanted to have a website and now we need to change everything. So it's like, and I was like, yeah, and that's what I call the digital puzzle. There are lots of puzzle pieces, and in the hotel industry, many puzzle pieces are connected to another and they won't work without the other. And that's the problem and this is why we also extended our business model almost to become digital advisors, because we only want to do online marketing, but very often we need to change the whole landscape. And hotels are not able to do that themselves. So they need advice. And usually you have a lot of consultants in the markets, nothing against good consultants, but then not everyone is good. And many consultants take a lot of money for their work, right? I mean, good consultants like you, for example, right? I mean, they're worth the money just like a good employee. But if in the digital world, there are unfortunately a lot of people with little knowledge, high daily rates. So you pay them and the outcome is crap. And they don't take any responsibility for the change. And that's a problem, right? So
is it let's say because the picture is not seen globally? Sometimes also, let's say, in my case, I had also experiences with hotel owners, not with you, Daniel, but like that. Once you exactly paint the picture out how you said it right now, it is sometimes difficult to get it for the hotel owner.
Yes, of course. I mean, and hotel owners, yeah, but we need to be fair, like a hotel owner, right? I mean, it's crazy what a hotel owner needs to know. They need to know about hygiene. They need to know about e-commerce. They need to know about technology. They need to know about so many things. I'm sometimes like, wow, what hotel owners are too multitaskers, right? It's really difficult to be an expert in all that. So you need to outsource. You need to outsource and get experts in, and then you need to trust them, and you shouldn't micromanage them. That's the problem on the hotel side, that they sometimes micromanage them. They pay expensive consultants and then they don't listen because they don't get it, right? That's another problem. So, I mean, this is very individualized. I mean, and everyone is different. And the next problem on top of that is, you cannot go in there and say, I make the same solution for everyone, because a hotel at the airport in Spain has a completely different requirement than a leisure hotel in Mallorca or at the Baltic Sea. So not everything works for everyone. And you cannot always take the same technological landscape. And then you could also say, okay, okay, I take one technology that covers everything, for example, TravelClick, right? So, which is great. So I have my whole technology with one company. But very often I notice that's actually a pretty bad solution, because you get all solutions from one, but they're actually not good, or not good on everything. But the trend in the digital world is going more towards having experts on various levels. So you might have an expert on chat, you might have an expert on a PMS, you might have an expert on a revenue management system, but the systems need to be working together.
And an expert actually, and that it's, you know, user friendly and user experience at the end of the day. You know, it's like you know, for the hotel, for the entire system.
Yeah, but as I said, I mean, you would need, I mean, ideally you have someone in your property that manages all those digital efforts, right? On a strategic level. Yeah, very often that's not the case either, right? I mean, as I said, many hotels don't even have e-commerce managers, and they only are supposed to run, let's say, the distribution side. So, but on the other side, we also, I mean, but I don't want to make it too big here now, but on the other side, there's no education around digitalization either. So how can hotels have people working on digitalization if there's no education? If you go to universities, if you go to anywhere, there's no education. So, it's not part of the education. So it starts, I mean, it really goes down the road, right?
So if I would ask you now, and also this question goes to Sandro and also to Conrad, and you know, if we say, okay, digitalization, we need to know what we know what we need to do, but for example, are we even so far ready to adapt ourselves with methods to approach this problem? Let's say, are we working in hotels with the hotel teams in terms of methods similar to software companies, like Scrum techniques, agility, agile kind of working methods? Are we at that level already, or where are we?
No, we are far away from that.
No,
far away.
We are far away.
But on the other side, what you're describing as method is, I would keep it simple, because I don't think that a hotel needs to work on Scrum. But what I think is more is a mindset. We need a mindset that there's an importance, right? And in the end of the day, it's like you said with the process, right? I have a process in my hotel and it's manual. So I need to have the mindset of changing a manual process to a digital process, right? And if I don't do that properly, then it doesn't work, or I have to pay more money. And I need to understand that I need to change something in my property because I think it can save me money or can create more money. Many hotels make decisions based on, I'm implementing a software because my competitor has it, right? That's not the right way of approaching a problem. I need to understand my own process, and I need to see which solution covers or improves that process. And thinking, and this is for me not so much having, let's say, you talked about Agile and Scrum. This is, I mean, these are methodologies in IT.
Okay.
I'm thinking more like,
a business
owner, right?
Yeah, okay, you are seeing this from an online marketer standpoint and from a tech point. I'm seeing from an operational point, and as a consultant, I have to be always some step ahead of my client. So if I say, for example, I think that is a really useful way of doing things. And I don't see any reason why we in hospitality should not also adapt from software companies what works for them, because they do the other way around. They take from hospitality companies like us, they take what works for them, let's say the customer centricity and all these hospitality factor in their branch. So why we cannot do it the other way around?
I agree on that overall. I think that, but there's a huge difference. The hotel industry is much more operational, has people with less education, has less money.
But innovation still stops at some point, because we are not agile enough in order to work in small steps implementing things. Now, Conrad, I ask you, when you implement your chat, you know, it's an agile process. Let's say you implement in the beginning some major points. Tell us about it.
Yeah. First of all, I want to add to Uli. I think also it's all about mindset at the hotel owners. I see that in my case, selling a live chat service it's all about the mindset of the hotel owner. Predominantly the younger hotel owners have this digital mindset, not only, but predominantly the younger hotel owners. So it's much easier to sell it to, or we only sell it to the hotel owners with a digital mindset. That is so, Peggy, what you have to do to...
I do not agree.
You are also younger one.
I always find with the young people want things easy, and the issue is, as example, as you say about the the chats in the hospitality. What I am looking for is someone who brings me an Alexa, put it in the rooms, and tell what times is the shuttles going to depart, and says, "Hello, my client Joseph. It's gonna departure in 20 minutes. It's not available right now. I have looked for, and it's not possible." You know, and always I've looked at different consultants in different branches, and is just as Ullrich is saying, they sell beautiful ideas, but nothing really practical, nothing really to be used by the clients. You know, just I want this to work and to be used frequently, and most of the things are not practical. You know, even with television. You know, now I think I have already, but I want televisions in my hotel rooms that you take your Netflix in your mobile and you send the content to the TV. This is not available now with Chromecast. It's possible, but since 2 months ago it was not possible. And they sell you that it's possible 1 year ago, and it's not right, because if you have Android, something happens. If you have Apple, other thing, you know, you need different platforms, and it gives friction to the client. So it's not gonna work. So we always, the hoteliers, need to go a step ahead to the consultant, because they want to sell, even if they have no fucking idea what they are doing, you know, but they want to sell you. And this is the point, you know. I always ask for tests, because if not, you are always just wasting money for nothing, you know. And I mean, and this is given by the experience, because the young people just pay and don't find results. It happened to me years ago. So after you get, sometimes I sniff to the good consultants and the bad consultants.
I think there are different points here. You are right that there are many service providers which sell crap. So not every, you can say this product is digital, take it and it's okay. So you have the ability, you need to have the ability to, take the right decision. What digital product is good for my hotel and which is not good for my hotel. And I think that's the problem. And there are many service providers on the market which sell crap and technological stuff, which is just bullshit. And that's where the consultant comes into account, like Peggy, who can tell you what is good and what is not good.
My question would be now.
But about the youngs, you know, I mean, all the people that we are here, you know, we always say the young are more prepared for this digital, and I don't think it's really true. I think that we people of the 80s and last 70s, we are even more prepared than the young ones, because we have seen all the process, and we, you know TikTok, you know everything, how it works. You may like it or you may not, but you know how it works. And we have seen different phases. We have seen the beginning of the wikis. After the wikis, we saw the beginning of Facebook, and then and they just are in the last trend, and they know this last phase. So the young people, maybe they have lived.
How about the customer, Sandro? When your customer, and now I don't mean a B2B, but your customers, are they coming to you and say, we have here a statistic, also Uli, we have here a statistic, and our customers, they want or they prefer check-in, mobile check-in, instead of personal check-in at the reception, or they like to reserve their shuttle online, or they don't. So do we have these analytics, the voice of the customer?
Yes, of course, there's a lot of research documents about different things. I would like to add here, first of all, what Daniel said. I'm very sorry, but I guess you were working with the wrong companies or consultants. And as an when you buy a cheap car, the car seller will also tell you, yeah, it's the best car, and then after 1 year you say, no, it was actually crap. So, but in our case, for example, we are a service provider. So the products we sell, it's not that we sell it and then ciao goodbye. It's we build a relationship, and in the best case, like some of our customers are with us as long as the company exists. Being a technology advisor is there a very important part. Also not for our own portfolio of solutions, what we are selling, but in general. I also agree that this technology or being tech savvy doesn't have to do with age. The grandma of my wife, she is having all kind of different tools and using so many apps. She knows more than myself about these things. So it really has nothing to do with tech. But if you're not so savvy yourself, if you look to design your lobby, you're also having an interior designer helping you with this. So when it comes to technology, I think it's important to find your contact of trust and to have this relationship, and then do a certain research and say, okay, what kind of solutions make sense for me, for my product? Because the example we had here also with the limousine, this is maybe for the airport hotel or certain hotel, it's okay, but another hotel which is somewhere in the ski mountains, far away from everything, is not offering a limousine service from the airport. So it really leads to, you need to look into these things. And our clients are coming up to us and of course are saying, okay, in what areas does it make sense to make improvements? And you have to look ahead. You have to not see like, okay, what do I really need right now? It's a little bit, okay, in which direction is the trend going? And there is researches, for example, we were talking about distribution and web pages. Nowadays, you are not, I give you an example from a different industry, from the banking industry, for example, online banking. So how do you use it? Do you go into La Caixa or Sparkasse in Germany or wherever and you do your transfers there? Are you using it on your web browser? Are you using it on your iPad? Are you using it on your mobile phone? And the research shows that nowadays people actually only use it within the app. So if the bank is not offering a nice app to deal with it, and probably the customer goes somewhere else and is not going into the bank anymore at all. And this is the same in hospitality. If you attract a certain clientele of guests, okay, what do they want? What makes sense to them? And yeah. I think there's a lot of great solutions and a lot of great things you can implement to look a little bit ahead there in the customer journey. And it will be in the end also what Uli said before, it will generate you more direct bookings. You have to work more with the references of your guests to give them a unique experience when they stay with you to come back, maybe looking into loyalty programs. This is all things which are now even more important than before this crisis.
Yes, and while you are saying this, I think a central point is also for hotels really to look along the customer journey and really take every single process, pre-stay and post-stay, and look which process makes sense to digitalize and which brings me where it pays in, you know, in that sense. And whether...
Sorry, and I want to add here, and we have to also understand that we as a hotelier, we know the hotel industry, but our guests not. They also don't know that we as a hotel pay 15% to booking.com and so on. So they don't do this because they don't want to do bad to us of booking finally at booking.com. We have to think about why they're ending up there. So maybe they come on our webpage. Our webpage looks nice. It's a new page and so on. But then they want to know what's the situation with COVID, if the hotel, or if they can have an early check-in, so whatever. And then it already starts there. Maybe they're struggling to find that information on the webpage. They go back to Google, they type it into Google, and then the first link they are getting is a link from Kayak, from booking.com or wherever. So they were already on your page, then you lose them, and then go to booking.com and book there, because they don't have this knowledge and they don't know that they good to you.
I agree, Sandro. As example,
it's important. It's important for the hoteliers also to communicate this more. In Switzerland,
Yes.
the
Thank
Swiss
you.
are doing this and saying, hey, book directly at the hotel because that's where you get the best deals and so on. So here we really need to start.
Yes.
Sandro, I promise I tried and I did my best to work with Opera in order to make the check-ins online and blah, blah, blah. And I don't know, maybe this is a special situation of the consultants here in Spain, of the Opera brand, but it's so complicated. You can't imagine. It's incredible how difficult they, maybe, I don't know if it was Conrad or Ullrich that said about that they had to change everything. But I invested in Opera because I thought it was the best software, you know, the most agile, the standard in the industry. And it's the most stupid change I've made in my hotel. I think that it's a very important piece of the hotel, operational and in digital because it's everything related, and they have no easy connections, you know. Everything is proprietary, and you know it's very complicated. I'm still in the search of the perfect PMS, and I cannot find a way of make a proper check-in online. Impossible. With Opera, impossible. You need manual working of people introducing the information, you know, and my kind of reservation is not very in advance, you know. It's really fast, so it's complicated. It gives more work, really. It's beneficial for the client, I agree, but it gives me quite more of work. What, you know, I don't think it's so complicated to make a check-in online and then verifying the ID when you are in the reception. This is impossible. With Opera, it's really a nightmare.
Well, what you're describing, Daniel, is a typical issue that you have. I mean, obviously, Opera is a huge tanker with lots of capabilities, but at the same time, it's old technology. It's not flexible, specifically not for your needs. So the alternative is to really make a hard cut, go for something completely different, then find something more flexible. But that means that you might have to go for a solution where you pick different pieces that work together, which is also, then you don't have it out of one hand, but I mean, there's no golden way, I have to say. There's really no golden way. But my overall experience is that technology becomes more and more specific, right? So there's online check-in, there's online upselling, there's reviews, there's online marketing, there is booking engines, there's channel management, there's lots of, and there are companies that
they need to be integrated, really integrated, you know, different providers but integrated. They are so close.
Exactly. So what's happening now, and that's what happened over the last 4 years, is that you had, like the last 15 years, you had very big providers that offer you everything, but in the end, you get everything out of one hand, but nothing works. And if you want to change something small, you pay 10,000 euro setup fee, right? So that sucks. I hate these kind of providers. So now you have
you nailed it.
Yeah. So now you have a new trend where you have new providers entering the market, like Muse or Apaleo in the PMS field, and they have an open API. And then you have lots of small startups, and they all are connected. So they are, what you say, integrated. And it's actually also more or less, the integrations are more or less for free. So you don't have to pay for every integration. But the problem is that you might have to sign contracts with 20 different companies, right? So in a way, you have to find the perfect revenue management system, the perfect booking engine, and they all need to work together. The market is getting much better on that, right? Because the technology is getting easier and technology is getting better. So integrations are really cheaper. And if you're smart and if you're a little bit on top of things, then you can actually pick like 5 or 6 good things, put them together, and it works much better and much cheaper than anything you had before with Opera. But it requires more work and more knowledge on your side, right? This is what we said at the beginning, that we need more knowledge in the hotel or someone who helps the hotel. But I mean, and this is partially what I do.
I need you, Ullrich.
Yeah, I'm coming to Barcelona in July. But the next thing is that even if I always put it there, I might be even able to help you to kick it off, and maybe to help you to find the right infrastructure. But you still need to manage it, And if you ongoingly want to really be on top of stuff, you need to have the knowledge in-house. I'm not a fan of outsourcing everything. You can outsource to kick it off. You can outsource to check it once in a while, to get a second opinion. But ultimately, you need to have someone being in charge of that. And it usually starts with the GM. And then obviously, ideally, you have someone next to you. And by the way, I mean, Marcos is not there anymore, but with Marcos, we did exactly that, right? With Marcos and his property, he's the GM, he wants to change it. He has a very good employee who's like eager, but not that well in the knowledge. So we were kind of like educating that employee so he becomes more self-sufficient, because it's far too expensive for us to run his property operationally in the digital field. So he needs to run it, but we kind of like give once in a while a little input. And that's, I always think, there are great solutions in the market, really great solutions, but you need to put the puzzle together so it works, right? And one of the problems we still have is that every hotel has a different puzzle, right? Because in Spain, a corporate hotel in Spain is different to a leisure hotel in Germany. So maybe of 6 pieces, 3 are similar, but 3 other pieces are different, right? So, and every hotel needs an individual solution. That always makes it a little bit tricky, but let's put it that way, we're getting in a good direction. 5 years ago, that was a nightmare. And now we're actually getting to a point where things are getting much easier, but I'm repeating myself, the most important thing is that we have more knowledge in the hotel. That is really the key. And I still see major problems when it comes to education, hotel education, like when we have young people, right? I mean, we always think young people are so tech savvy and they are much more open to digitalization. No, because I have no problem. I mean, they sometimes even are less knowledgeable than we are because they only know these iPhones that do everything for them.
Yeah,
our generation, our generation, I built my first computer myself. I know how that shit works, right? So, so I sometimes feel that I'm more tech savvy than a 20-year-old, right? But again, it comes down to the knowledge and understanding what digitalization actually means, and that requires a little bit of tech. That requires methods, like Peggy said, right? We need to implement new methods, and that comes always back to one guy, and that's actually you, Daniel. It's actually in the hotel, it's you. Right? The fish always thinks from the head, right? So
yeah,
but you seem to be on top of that, so don't take it.
No, I like it, but I have not find the solution, because Oracle put it's very difficult. I do not have how many virtual servers I have now. You know, I am totally lost for a 100 room hotel. I don't know how many servers I have. Incredible for a shitty hotel of 100 rooms.
You know, I'm really happy that the discussion is still really ongoing, but I was always saying, let's keep it 1 hour, and let's say 3 more minutes to round up. And I can assure you, I have so many more questions also in regarding to online marketing. I'm so into this. I like it, and I think it's really, really, really working, because we have to change the way we see things. You know, I think, and the way things are working also from how Conrad is operating, and the mindset of Sandro also saying it's like we have to look what really makes sense for the hotel. And if someone wants to add something, please feel free. And
I wanted to add to what
close.
I was before I started working for different tech companies. I worked for Mandarin Oriental hotels, and I was in F&B operations management. And it started exactly the example what Uli said. It started with, I was taking care of the POS system, and then the GM was coming, and I was a project manager from a user perspective to deal with this and to digitalize the different processes we had within Mandarin. In the end, we had a PMS system and 16 integrations, 16 interfaces to other solutions. So this hotel was using, in total, 17 different software solutions, and there were 2 or 3 from the same provider, the rest all separate. This is a big puzzle. But of course, this is a luxury chain worldwide. If you now look at a single property, a boutique hotel with 50 rooms or maybe 100 rooms, you can have 3-4 solutions in place and run your hotel in a nicely with these different solutions. So it starts here, and I think it's important to. Daniel was giving the example of one company. I think there's companies like Uli, like us, many others providers, where it can also go in a different way. And you then have to build your puzzle yourself. And it can be for distribution, for online marketing, and so on. There's a lot of possibilities to improve for sure what hoteliers have in place at the moment.
Thank you, Sandro. Good last point. Conrad, you want to add something to the round?
Yes, I think the most important question is that you have to ask yourself, Daniel, do you need it? What do you need and what doesn't you need? I think the mobile check-in is a good example if you need it or not. Are you a business hotel? Are you a leisure hotel? Are you more luxury? Are you more budget? And that is if you need a mobile check-in or not. So what for a hotel are you? So that's, I think, if you're a leisure hotel on a luxury basis, I think, in my opinion, you don't need a mobile check-in. If you are a more budget business hotel, yes, it's a good idea. That is what you have to ask, and not every service is a good service. I think in my example, it's a live chat. Everybody is talking about chatbots. So, but I have never seen a chatbot which is good working. A chatbot, a robot which is working, which works. We offer a human live chat. That is what works today, and that is what we offer also for luxury leisure hotels and not for business budget hotel. So it's always what works today in 2020 and what does not work. And for what hotel is it good? And for so chatbot might be good for hostels also, but it's not good for luxury boutique hotels, wellness hotels who want to offer the personal service which only a human being can bring. And that is what you have to ask. Is it good for me? Is it good for me in my special case? So, Peggy?
No, that is exactly what I think. And you know, this topic is so complex. And now that you mention it, also the fact of the data, how much percentage of your data in the hotel do you use in order to provoke innovation processes? You know, let's say to find out what your guests really need. What is also the perspective? Are we thinking future in terms of after Corona, next summer Barcelona or fall Barcelona? What is the need of our customers? How can we be visible omni-channel for them? You know, now that we don't have anymore the closeness in person, how can we get close in all the channels with them, placing marketing campaigns and all that instead? And yeah, what means innovation in general and where we move? Uli, you want to make your last comment, and then
I also need to jump off in 2 minutes, but
yes.
But maybe in a nutshell, what I would say is it's not about digitalization because you need to be digital, right? That's not the point. The point is you do things because you want to be more profitable, right? You need to improve your profitability. That's how you decide on things.
And your customer experience.
And then improve the customer experience. But even you can have the best customer experience. If it's too expensive and you can't afford it, then it makes no sense either. That means also keep things simple. Focus, right? Focus for me is always important. Don't try to do everything at the same time, right? It doesn't make sense. Take it step by step, because usually a hotel operation is very complex. So you will not be able to solve, right? The way to Rome, it can be long. So you need to do it step by step. And you need to make sure that it really fits to your needs, what Conrad just said, right? Not everything makes sense for every hotel. So that's basically my recommendation, right? It's a marathon, not a sprint. With Marcus, we work together now for 6 years, and there's still stuff we do step by step, and things reinvent themselves, right? Like Conrad said, today chat is maybe more personal in a 5-star environment, but chatbots are getting better, and in 2-3 years, maybe everything is run by robots. We don't know. I mean, cars today we need to drive. In 5 years, we might have to drive cars anymore, right? But there's a very fast development, so you need to stay on top of stuff. But in the end of the day, don't try to do everything because you get overwhelmed. So you need to do it step by step. But the most important thing is, when I coming back to Daniel, here you are stuck in a technical setup where you can't do anything, right? Because you're just stuck. Nothing works, right? And you need to cut through this and first create a more flexible workspace, right? Which means you need to have a more flexible technology setup, and also a more flexible, potentially, people setup, right? So these are, you need to have the mindset, but also the framework, the technical framework. If your technical framework is strict, and with Opera you cannot change anything, then you're relying on them. If you want to be more self-sufficient, you need to change your framework, and you need to have the right people. And if you have these 2 things in place, then you can grow step by step by step. And again, don't overwhelm yourself, right? You cannot be as agile as an Amazon, right? You don't have the resources, you don't have the money, you don't have the people.
But you know, let's not limit ourselves.
Yeah, not to limit.
I always like.
Yeah, but
no, what I like from you, Uli, when you said, and this is really what I think, and what I really like is, and I have this same when I go into fine tuning customer experiences, is it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's a marathon. That means you start little by little, and then you will see really sustainable changes that lead to success.
Exactly.
And this is, thank you very much, guys. It was, again, so much fun. And I think also this video will go later than online. We were live on Facebook now. And also for other hotel owners to be, I think, an added value. And I hope to see you soon in a presidential event or in Zoom. Thank you.
Yes. Perfect.
Bye-bye.
Speak to you soon.
Have a good day.